AI is going to be a fact of life moving forward. It's going to be implemented in more and more places in Hollywood. Well, they're all working, every single studio I'm talking about here. They're working on their own variation, their own version. And yeah, there's no putting the genie back in the bottle in this case, pun somewhat intended. It's just, I guess the question becomes, who's going to have the more practical, who's going to have the most tasteful application of this? And well, we're starting to see early uses and how some studios, Mid-Journey in particular, how they're getting clamped down by certain studios, filing lawsuits about that's my intellectual property, you can't be using that. And that's going to be something else that we're going to have to suss out. But long story short, if you believe it and if you can think it and if you can accurately prompt it, it's going to become a reality. And once again, the most milquetoast but also measured takes on this technology out there comes from Keanu Reeves. A guy who just really doesn't seem to be bothered by anything, and it's just a great way to live your life. But he's talking about the AI videos that are being made of him, and well, I could imagine it's probably pretty shocking to see yourself in relative stages of believability, depending on how certain people have the ability to prompt. Certain programs can deliver quite a lifelike and believable performance, but yes, we're in that world. It's not a lot of fun because I would imagine he's probably extrapolating this out to be like, oh, okay, cool, so instead of me potentially getting cast, and I don't think he'd ever really want to return to this at any point in time, but for a proper Matrix movie, Lawrence Fishburne, I've seen something like this pop up recently as well, saying that the only way that he'd return to the franchise is if the story and the script was up to snuff. And well, that just clearly isn't going to be the case moving forward because the Wachowski siblings, whatever they are at this given point in time, not trying to be politically correct, I just don't know what they are at this point in time. They are not at all interested in revisiting that world, but through the benefits and through the advancements in AI technology, having a properly de-aged cast, having a passionate fan base or a passionate creative out there to go ahead and prompt a proper fifth, or some would argue fourth, or hell, even properly argue a sequel to the original Matrix, well, that's not just a possibility. I think that that's an inevitability. And in certain cases, using AI to run back at least, because I still have a fondness, I got to go back and watch those first two Matrix sequels. I know that there's some good stuff in there, but there's also a lot of stupid fluff as well. But I don't hear anything good about, Resurrections? That was one of my early flirtations with fanfic. I didn't write it or anything like that, but I remember leaving the cinema after, Revolutions? Was that the third one? I legitimately don't remember, but I remember liking it and being really jazzed about it coming out of the theaters because I really wanted to know what was coming next. Can we just go ahead and get another Matrix movie? I really like the Matrix movies. Can we just go ahead and do that? And if AI was around at the time, I might have been able to tinker with it. I might have been able to give myself a fourth Matrix movie. And realistically, with the amount of slop that's coming out of Hollywood and how difficult, not Keanu Reeves, he's obviously got the perception of being a saint, as difficult as it is to work with a lot of people that either don't want to sign on to the project or are just simply not interested in or incapable of performing. Well, that's going to be done away. That's going to be a simple rights issue moving forward. Using and licensing your likeness to be a part of this new production is just going to come down to a simple dollars and cents. You don't have to do anything. We just want your voice. We just want what you potentially could look like, and the check's in the mail. But when it comes to fan-made content, using your open AIs, your mid-journeys, or hell, or even over here on Twitter looking at this, using Grok to make different shorts or even feature-length films, there's a lot of narrative problems that can go ahead and get rectified. And something I've talked about it recently, just watching Spartacus, the TV series, in a lead up to, oh God, I don't even really want to think about it, but they're returning to that, with the House of Asher, which is in fact a very cool concept, and depending on how Steven tonight, because we all know what happens, and more often than not, whenever the old creative team comes back to give it one more go, how often those just produce bangers. So I'm hoping for the best, but bracing for the worst come December. But that's also a series that, for as much, I really like War of the Damned. I think that's quite good, but I also think that Vengeance is very, very weak. It's definitely the weakest of the, depending on how you want to characterize it, 3-4 seasons, depending on how you want to categorize Gods of the Arena. But yes, having Andy Whitfield, who regrettably, passed away from cancer after the conclusion of Blood and Sand, being diagnosed towards the end of filming, and then, yes, ending up succumbing before the end of Gods of the Arena, I think. Nothing against Liam McIntyre. I'm sure he's probably going to be pretty decent as Wolverine in that game. It's just, especially in Vengeance, he really does become Ploticus, where everything that he does is just about the grand overarching narrative of the plot, and he has these big speeches, you know, and I really hate it a lot. And how a bunch of the other characters just end up becoming one-dimensional. And like I've said before, I've bantied around an idea to potentially break down Vengeance, because there's 3 episodes in particular that I really hate and think that are very stupid and uncharacteristic of the rest of the series, and how they ended up salvaging something with War of the Damned. Kind of gives me hope for House of Asher. But in regards to AI, I mean, even as good and even as redemptive that War of the Damned is, like having AI Andy Whitfield in there over Liam McIntyre, especially with some of the final character moments, like the way that those would hit so much better, especially, yeah, I don't want to spoil too much of it because I think, you know, this Spartacus is in fact brilliant. I think that that could be a tremendous use of AI, and it's something that, you know, in very short order could end up becoming reality. And so the fears of the likes of, you know, Keanu Reeves, just seeing what is happening right now, what could potentially be happening, you know, saying that it's not a lot of fun, you know, potentially seeing, you know, John Wick twerk next to Dutch from Predator over the corpse of a xenomorph. I mean, that could be interesting, but also horrifying as well, but probably not quite as horrifying as being Zelda Williams constantly inundated with, I would imagine, well-meaning fans, okay, showing you AI recreations of your father. It's like, bro, okay, even still. And the more I learned about this, okay, because at the time it was sad in and of itself, but figuring out the reasons that led Robin Williams to take his own life all of those years ago, it's like, oh man, that's just incredibly sad. But to see this take place, okay, Robin Williams' daughter tells fans to stop sending me AI videos of dad. I mean, yeah, it's been over a decade at this point in time, but still, I couldn't imagine, right, losing a loved one like that, losing your father, losing your mother, losing a sibling or anything like that. And then just, yeah, having well-meaning fans send you videos of your parents, but then at the same time, do you really want to see that? I don't think so, man. Yeah, it's gross, and it's not what he'd want. Because, yeah, man, I think of a lot of the performances that are out there. I think of just how good and how perfect Robin Williams would be for certain performances and certain roles that have happened in recent years, and how we so greatly missed out on so many tremendous performances. Because, yeah, it's not so much that he was such an amazing comedic talent. I mean, we also started to figure out that he was just, like, full stop, one of the best actors to ever do it. So yeah, thinking of him, you know, just the potential of him being in a Scorsese film. I know that he was in, you know, a lesser known Nolan film, but that was really good. Okay, Insomnia is tremendous, but I don't think anything could really save that live action Aladdin film. But having a proper Robin Williams genie in that, I mean, it might make it superficially better, but also, you know, just putting yourself in Zelda's shoes here for a second. You're seeing your father's likeness puppeted all these years later after such a tragic end. I mean, yeah, you gotta have some respect out there. Kind of understand. But Zelda Williams, the daughter of Robin Williams and the director of the romantic comedy Lisa Frankenstein, recently took to her Instagram story to tell people to stop sending her AI-generated photos of her father, the iconic comedian who died, yes, in 2014. Shit, 63, only 63. Jesus. Anyways, please stop sending me AI videos of dad. Ugh, God. Even just that sentence. Fuck, man. That just hits different. Stop believing I want to see it or that I'll understand. I don't and I won't. If you're just trying to troll me, I've seen way worse. I'll restrict and move on. But please, if you got any decency, just stop doing this to him and to me and to everyone even. Full stop. It's dumb. It's a waste of time and energy. And believe me, it's not what he'd want. To watch the legacies of real people be condensed down to this vaguely looks like and sounds like them, so it's enough. Just for other people to churn out horrible TikTok slop, puppeteering them is maddening. I mean, she's not wrong. You're not making art, you're making disgusting, overprocessed hot dogs out of lives of human beings, out of the history of art and music, and then shoving them down someone else's throat, hoping that they'll give you a little thumbs up and like it. Gross, Zelda concluded. And for the love of everything, stop calling it the future. AI is badly recycling and regurgitating the past to be reconsumed. You're taking the human centipede of content, I mean, and from the very, very end of the line, and while the folks at the front laugh and laugh, consume and consume. She's not wrong in every respect, except in thinking that AI is the future. It's not the future, it is the present, and it's something that we're all going to have to reconcile and reason with. De-aging CGI technology has been out there. Hollywood's nostalgia baiting and milking is bad right now, but when they start to properly perfect AI technology, It's only going to be a matter of time before legacy castmates get brought back to reprise a legacy roles, and that content Ouroboros truly devours itself, so that people with aptitude for AI technology are the only ways that we're going to be getting any kind of new entertainment coming out of Hollywood. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.